Wow. 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 Hey guys, it's Wahima. Pero just call me Wah, bro. Melanated. You could literally knock me over with a feather right now. To watch the breakdown of a relationship, it's a study. It's a study in what not to do. Whew. If you guys are new to my channel, my name is Wah, and I do recaps of relationship reality TV such as 90 Day Fiance, The Family Chantel, Seeking Sister Wife, etc. So if you are at all interested in that content, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If while watching this, you feel like you want to give your girl a tip because I am just spitting facts and giving you guys all the information you needed. And if you're getting the little hee hee ha ha's and you want to drop your girl tip, please do so. I mean, I love the tips. It keeps me going. So I'm gonna talk to you now about the season finale of The Family Chantel season 4. And let me tell you, I did episodes 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then I was like, oh, I don't want to see them fight. I don't want to see them fight. I'll like give you guys updates as it goes. Like I didn't believe it. I'm seeing all of this online at 90 Day the Melanated Way, and I'm seeing it, and I'm seeing some of the 90 Day Fiance audience just really fall directly into the xenophobia and the American ideal that someone is using somebody else for the green card, and I'm still staunchly not believing that that is the case, but I got to talk about it. If you guys are wanting to know what I think about the latest episode of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, please know that I do have a podcast. It's called DocuSweeties. I have it with my good friend Chris Farah, and I am talking about Love After Lockup, if you wanted to know about that, on DocuSweeties with my good friend Chris Farah. And both of those episodes have dropped on wherever it is that you listen to your podcast. So yesterday was a little snafu, and we uploaded both Love After Lockup on both feeds, but now it has all been corrected. It's been righted. So please go ahead and support your girls if you like us. If you hate us together, please just go over there and support us and subscribe and give us some stars. Just do it for me. If you don't want to do it for Chris, just do it for me, okay? Because I'm really trying to diversify my portfolio in trash TV reviews. Okay, so I'm gonna just kind of talk about it because I didn't take any notes because I was too busy watching it. But here's what I have discovered so far. So the last episode I left off on, he called her lazy. And then I saw a little snippet of her going to his job, embarrassing him in front of his coworkers. And then I saw snippets of him moving out and getting his own place. I saw snippets of her going to the Dominican Republic and talking to his mother about it, and then him getting upset, feeling like she's using it as like a dirty tactic. Like, why all of a sudden are you trying to make amends with my mother? Like, you and I aren't even on a good place. Like, and me and my mother aren't in a good place. So like, don't try to bring my mother into this. And so from what I could see, a lot of mistakes were made by both parties. And Chantel had a few mistakes that for me would have been unforgivable if I were Pedro. But that's just me speaking from somebody who has never been in a committed relationship. I've never been married. I've never even bloody been close. So there are going to be some blind spots that I obviously have. And so I'm just going to, you guys can tell me what it is and what it isn't. But I'm going to also give it to you from the perspective of somebody who has watched good marriages and bad marriages and marriages that wouldn't be for me but work for them. You get what I'm saying? So I'm going to give you from all those perspectives. And I hope that you would provide your perspective too. I want to say thank you to the 45 of you who are in this room. Girl, I did not expect anybody to come in at 2:40 p.m. PST and talk about this. So we've got Kimberly, hello. We've got Renee. We've got Suman. Suman, I've never met you. Hello. Aspasia, hi girl. And then we got Shannon Van. You guys, Shannon Van is a fellow recapper. She does the Bravo shows, and she's from Vancouver, and her name is Shan, which is why it's Shannon Van, not that she is on some sort of road trip and constantly lives in and out of a van. Chianti, hello. Better Days, hi. I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time, Better Days. C. Cruz, hello, hello, hello. Okay. It's a mom vlog. Hey, all right. So to me, Chantel going to a work party and being hostile was wildly inappropriate. I don't know if it would have been unforgivable, but I would have not trusted that person from there on out, because I would not have seen that move as what I think it was, which is a desperate move to like move your queen in front of the king, or a desperate move to like show your husband that you ain't no punk B. You know what I'm saying? I think that there is a through line throughout all of this where I feel like Chantel feels that behaviors that Pedro did was disrespectful. And I don't see those behaviors as disrespectful, or at least purposefully so. And I think that because she witnessed a relationship between her parents that is unique in marriages, and I'm not saying it's unheard of, I think it's definitely heard of, but I think it's less normal than you would think. And so I think for me, and I don't know how much of this is me like not being pro woman, because I feel like I am, but sometimes folks make me feel like I'm not. How much of it is her expectation that is unrealistic, simply based on the fact that I've said this before, that I think that Karen and her husband are equally yoked in a mental capacity. They are on the same wavelength mentally. So I said that. They are on the same wavelength with family wise. On top of that, I can't remember his name. I want to call him Anthony, but that's not his name. Thomas. Mr. Thomas like loves Karen and dotes on her in a way that I don't think is necessary for a husband to do. I think it's great for them, and I'm so happy for Miss Karen. Like, so happy that she found a husband like that. But I think the problem is that because she had that, and because her daughters witnessed that, sometimes they have an unrealistic expectation of what that should look like. And so I think that Chantel going to his coworkers, like in space, and saying the things that he said to his coworker, and doing the thing like that behavior at the happy hour with the coworkers, to me was a turning point, and I would not trust my partner from there. I wouldn't trust them from there. I think that I witnessed a lot of passive aggressive behavior from the two people in my life that I witnessed their marriage. And behavior like that happened where one person, in order to shame the other person, or in order to get their feelings heard and like get like strangers to co-sign behavior, did things that to me should not be public information. And I think that Chantel doing that to me was a breach. And I think it was for Pedro as well. And I think after that, he realized, like, this girl is crazy. Like, I can't trust her. She's going to my business, my place of business, and embarrassing me in front of these strangers. Because a lot of times we truly believe, especially us, you know, I'm saying us foreigners, I'm American, but like there is an idea that you keep home life home. And she didn't do that. So there's that. Now, that compiled on a bunch of other things that Pedro was feeling at the same time: frustration with his own family, the fact that he probably couldn't go to his wife about his family because his wife staunchly is against his family, for what all of us know is for no reason. Like the whole, the whole miscommunication between Chantel and Nicole at their wedding in the Dominican Republic is crazy. It's crazy to me that this whole foundation of their relationship was partly built on that cracked foundation between Chantel and the sister. And so then when he actually finds issues with his family, he truly doesn't feel like he can confide in his wife about it, because all she's going to say is, I told you so, and I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry this is happening to you. But also her family has treated him poorly, and she's allowed it because she had communicated to them things that she should not have, because again, she's hunting for something that her mother had. And so she, at every turn, when he wasn't exactly like her father, I think that she went to them when she should not have. And so that created like a break in the foundation. I do believe, and I still to this day believe, that these two people love each other. They just were too young to truly work through some of the issues that they had foundationally. I think they were making good money. I think that when it was just them two and they didn't have to deal with each other's families, they were fine. But I think they couldn't live inside that bubble forever. So they now get to a place where Pedro wants Chantel to be a different type of person. He thinks that she is lazy. And I'm going to tell you right now, once I think someone's lazy, unless they tell me that they have some kind of physical disorder or mental disorder, there is no way for me to come out of thinking that they are not lazy. And I know that if I think you are lazy, that you will go into a special place in my brain where like I can't depend on you on certain things because like you don't have the same motivation as me, you don't have the same understanding of expectations of household duties or how to keep up certain things. Like you just don't run on the same octane as me. Like I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge it. I run on a different plane. Like there are times and that's not good. Like sometimes I'm just like so tired that I have to take like a week off of work in order to get myself back on because I have run myself into the ground for like 4 months straight. And so it's not healthy, but because I run on that octane, when I see other people not running like that, I'm like, how do you get anything done? I'm running on that octane, on that octane. I'm running on that level and I'm barely getting things done. So now I can't trust you because I'm always going to be hustling more than you. So either one, I need to let go of the fact that you're never going to be that person and love you for who you are, or two, I'm just going to be mad at you. And I think that Pedro fell into, I'm going to be mad at you. I think coupled with her expectations of him and coupled with his expectations of her and her not meeting them, and then the outside pressures, I think it was a lot. And I feel so terrible for them. I want them to get back together. I want them to secretly have a relationship where no one knows about it and they are just able to like live in their vacuum and not communicate about it with anybody. So there's that. Co says, it just popped up. Can you be redeemable though? What's the room to grow? You know what? You can, but I am speaking from somebody who's 40, right? At this old age, I personally don't think that someone without a lot of therapy who truly wants the therapy is going to be redeemable. I think at 20 something, yeah. And here's another issue. I think that she tried to turn it around too late and he was already too far into his feelings. And her reaction was to let's go to therapy, which I think is correct, but it's also an American thing, right? We can't, I think a lot of people don't understand that like therapy truly, unless you've had like actual trauma, most folk of different countries do not believe in therapy. They just think it's some like hoo-ha nonsense. I'm going to go sit here and tell somebody my business and they're going to then tell me what to do. I don't think that people understand that therapy, especially when it's like couples therapy, it's not necessarily, I think that it can be beneficial on a surface level with just explaining to you two how to communicate to each other. And I think once the therapist doesn't need to go know all your deepest, darkest secrets. Like the therapist doesn't need to know certain things if you're uncomfortable with it. But I think how therapy can be super helpful is to put a mirror up to you guys as a relationship, as a partnership, and say, this is how this person communicates and speaks, and I need you to learn their language. So that Pedro could learn Chantel's language and Chantel could learn Pedro's language. That's what they needed therapy for. And I don't think that, the fact that Pedro wouldn't go isn't surprising to me, but I don't necessarily know that makes him wrong, because she tries to say that I wanted us to go to therapy as though that is the thing that would have saved their marriage, and he just refused to do it. I think that by the time it was suggested, she had already done a couple of things that to me were like wild. And so I think at that point, him being a young person, not super young, but like this is his only relationship, right? So it's not like he's had other relationships to learn from. I understand the fear and the want to just cut and run, right? And that was wrong of him. I think that he made a move to move out before he truly gave her the opportunity to turn it around. And I think it's because she went to his job and acted up. So to me, what I saw is a compiling of like, I got you, I got you, I got you. And then the money move, and then him turning off her phone. Like at that point, it was just ratcheting up. It was ratcheting up. And for her, she makes it seem like, oh, you turned off my phone. You left me stranded. I couldn't communicate to anybody. And I'm just like, no, I think that's rude. But to me, it felt out of order. I felt like that's the first thing he should have did. You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like, why was that she like totally felt like he like abandoned her, which he did. He did. But the phone wasn't the abandonment. When he moved out, when he was like, I need my own space, I think that was him abandoning her. I think that what he should have done is just move to another room in the house and then should have set up boundaries. But again, he's never had therapy and he wasn't going to go after she asked for it, after she had done the things that she'd done, after she had involved her family, after in his mind, she was being fake in front of them and wanting to throw parties. Like, she also doesn't know how to communicate. She also doesn't know, like, she was doing her best. I think there were, but like, it wasn't what he needed. And so I'm going to have to acknowledge this. I do not think that Pedro was using that girl. So I'm like, all of this, he's a scammer, all of this, I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to, because I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true at all. I don't think it's true at all. At all. I don't think it's true. Do. And I won't have that narrative, right? This is not a who used the person for the visa. This is not a Jabali Danielle situation. This is not a Muhammad Danielle situation. It's not. It's not. And I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. So, anywho, so when they had that conversation outside of the hotel and Chantel is standing there with no makeup on, looking just like River. I mean, I listen, up until that moment, I was like, none of her kids look alike. Okay. Karen and Thomas's kids all look vaguely similar to them. Like, I feel like it was a little bit the way me and my siblings, like none of me and my siblings, like we don't look alike. We have favors, we have moments, we have laughs, like things like that. Chantel has never looked more like River when she was standing there without any makeup. I said they are siblings. Not that I ever doubted it, but I'm just saying, like, that was the moment. And when I saw Chantel like that, and when she said the things that she said, I completely understood where she was coming from. I completely understood where she was coming from. And then when he says, Pinky, why do you have my paperwork? Why did you take the money? The money move, that was wrong, y'all. She could have took half of it. Now, he was wrong for taking $6,000 out at some point, taking $5,000 out at some point. What she should have done is just taken out a certain amount and then told him, why did you take out this amount? I'm uncomfortable. I'm going to take out this. So at least there was a record of it. And she just didn't do it like a thief in the night. I feel like that was a money move and a power play that her mother, who has never had to go through anything like this, or her sister, who has never had to go through anything like this, told her to do. Because they got scared and probably told her that he was going to take all the money because he's the evil foreigner who wants to use her. And I think when she did that, and then moved to a hotel and was nowhere to be found, then he was like, oh no, now I can't trust you. And she, up until this point, was like, I was doing everything for you. I went to DR to go talk to your mother. Like, everything that she was doing was, I know, stuff that she thought was might be right, but it wasn't. In fact, I honestly think that the move going to his mother was another move, like her going to the happy hour with the friends, like the coworkers. Like, it came from a place of petty, and it came from a place of it was petty underneath, right? And she tried to like put frosting on it by making it seem like she was doing everything she could to save her marriage. And Pedro kept calling her out on it and saying, you're being fake. Like, you coming to see my mother, isn't the move, but you want to do it so that you can say you did all the things, but it's fake. It is fake. And so I don't know who Jalissa is. I don't know who that is. So if I'm missing something, then that. Wow, the lawyers tell you to do that. I was told to do that and didn't. My ex cleared it all out the next week. Wow. But had she retained a lawyer at that point? Maybe she got some information. Haha. Interesting to know. Staying in an unsatisfying relationship until someone else comes lying instead of working shit out. Oh, I didn't know that. Anywho, Chantel made mistakes too. She was being too nice to Pedro. Okay. All right. Okay. She was being too nice to Pedro. We're going to have to take a difference of opinion there. Too nice to Pedro when issues came up. She didn't know how to address it. She was being too nice to Pedro. When issues came up, she didn't know how to address it. I appreciate you saying that, Wah. So sick of the narrative that every international spouse from 90 Day is scamming. Relationships fail all the time, no matter how you met or how long you're together. Yeah. No one knows when she hired a lawyer. Okay. Well, if that was lawyer's advice, then I understand why she did it. However, I think that it was one of those things that changed it. Jalissa says, no lawyers don't tell you that. Not from my experience. Leave that. Don't touch it. Don't be spiteful. So here's also the thing that I think that I need to say too, is that the problem is that also Pedro kept trying to take emotion out of it. And he wasn't acknowledging the fact that Chantel was purely moving with emotion. And so for her, even though I felt like some of the moves were fake and crazy, they were all very emotional moves. Very emotional. They were the moves of somebody who hasn't had therapy, who is listening to their friends and their families who don't know anything. That is the move of somebody who feels like they can just kind of do whatever and that person is supposed to stick by them regardless. And that's why she, I think felt abandoned. And I'm not going to say he didn't abandon her. Emotionally, he 100% did. He did. And I think that his like game of, oh, I'm going to divorce you or I'm moving out, she called his bluff and then made a move. And then he made a move. And then she made a move. And then it's too late. You get what I'm saying? Like he was wrong for moving out and doing and like cutting dry and calling her lazy and doing the things that he did. And it was an emotional move, but then he tried to switch it to a not emotional move and just move out and just get his own place. And I think for her, that wasn't the move. That was the thing that changed it for her because she's crying to everybody, right? She went to the Panama and ruined her friend's birthday crying. Like she, what we saw of Chantel was her trying to be a bad bitch, I think, or was her trying to like whatever. I'm telling you, the thing that got me on her side the most is standing outside of that hotel looking like her brother. That was the thing that got me. What I was like, okay, I see you. I see you beyond the antics. And then she's now picking up on all the things and trying to like be like, oh, well, these were the red flags. And I'm like, girl, those weren't the red flags. Like, because he never talked about having children with you is because he thought you were lazy and immature. That's why he didn't want to have kids with you, because he felt like he was going to have to do it all on his own. Like, so what it is she's just moving purely from emotion, and then he's trying to like make her feel bad about it. And I said, once she said, Pedro, you abandoned me, I said I couldn't argue with her on that. I couldn't argue with any person who feels abandoned. If you feel abandoned, you will make moves. You will make choices. And I think that he did that. He thought that he could just move out and like she would take it. And she felt super disrespected about that. And so from there, her disrespect began. But honestly, the phone situation was fucking petty. Oh, I'm not going to pay for her phone anymore. Now, I get why, because she took money. She took money. But that was like weird. I mean, at some point you have to stop the petty, right? And then they didn't stop it. So then the last move was him showing up to the house because he's trying to like talk to her. And I do not know why this man thought that after he moved out, that her family wouldn't surround her like a goddamn butterfly in a cocoon. I do not know why he didn't think that. He pulls up to the house and he's like, oh, the whole family's here. The whole family's here. I got to talk to Chantel. I'm like, fool, you know that they have been telling her since the beginning that you've been scamming her. You are not going to get to her anymore. You've lost that. And then he's like, oh, you changed the locks on the door. Yeah, she changed the locks on the door, Pedro. That whole scene of him being at the house, like, trying to act like that was his house. No. You moved down and got your own apartment, boo. If she doesn't have a key to your apartment, nor does she know where you live, then you don't get to just show up at her house. Okay? So if we're all being fair is fair, and we're taking the emotion out of it, then you need to take the emotion out of the locks on the door. Because what she can't have is you rolling up in the house anytime you want to. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think that his point, Lily, to your point, I think that his point of going there was to like let her know, like, yeah, I'm filing papers. And she's already like, I know you're filing papers. Like, I think he thought that if he had a conversation with her and like looked at her dead in the face and told her, hey, I'm filing papers, that like, I don't know, something would change, or, he went under the guise of like, I needed to tell her instead of just serving her. And I'm like, no, you know what? You would have been able to text her that if you hadn't turned off her phone. You would actually have her telephone number if you hadn't turned off her phone. And you know that I don't be on Miss Karen's side. I appreciated the way River handled it, and I loved the way Miss Karen did it. Oh, when she said, hello there. Hello, hi. No, Chantel can't come to the phone right now. Yeah, no, but you would be able to. You would have if you hadn't, but you turned off her phone. Yeah, I'm not gonna pay for it no more. That's it. Okay, well then that's it. Well, you did. I want to talk to Chantel. No, no, no. You're not gonna talk to Chantel. No. Yeah, yeah. Dude, she telling me she depressed and she's miserable, so I give her divorce. No, no, Pedro. No, Pedro. No, Pedro. Yeah, yeah, she got it. She got it. Don't worry, we got it. Don't worry. Don't worry. All right, you have a nice day now. I thought that was the appropriate move. Oh, 100% the appropriate move. The appropriate move. The appropriate move. That was great. That is the clearest she's ever sounded. That is the most sane she's ever sounded. And I thought that is what you say. That is exactly what's going on. She had to protect her baby. She had to, because Pedro, doing too much. You did too much. You did too much. She did too much, but you did too much. I think they both did too much. And I think that they're both going to hurt because of it. Now, some of the things that I feel like are lady gaslights, when she's like, oh, he disrespected me. I'm like, I don't know if he outright disrespected you. He did some things that you didn't like. He did some things that made you feel unloved and uncared for and unsupported and abandoned. 100%. But I think that he doesn't probably think that he did anything more disrespectful than you telling his coworkers what you told them. That was wild to me. Ooh, hot take, Jaleesa. My mom watched I watched with my mom, and she said that she wouldn't be involved. He wasn't abusing her. No kids were involved. That's their business. That's the way I feel too. Why did he have to come back to the house to tell her officially he'd filed paperwork? I think it was one last just effort to talk to her and to get her to understand that this was serious. Like, I think it was silly to do so. And I thought, again, Mother Karen was correct. At that point, it was too late. Sister has already moved in. And I just truly feel like Chantel is getting advice from women who have no idea what she's actually going through. And I think that was probably one of the downfalls of their relationship, is the expectation that he was going to be somebody that he wasn't. And I think the same thing with him. He felt like Chantel was going to eventually be somebody that she wasn't. But I think that had they quietly and compassionately worked on each other and worked on their relationship, it would come out okay. But I think it's hard when you're on a show, when your families are at odds, and when there's a lot going on. There's a lot of assets. They truly don't need each other to survive. My ex came on a holiday and cleaned out all my booze in the cabinet. They still feel they have the right. He was raised by an unemotional mother, and he is just like her. I think that the mother is unemotional and hard because she had to be. And I don't think that he's just like her, but I think that he made moves like somebody who's never seen a marriage. Like, I think they're both making moves based on the examples of not bad marriages, but marriages they've seen, and whether or not those marriages or those relationships are applicable to them. I don't think they are. I don't think you can base that on, I mean, because the way after she gets back from Panama and she's like, she had such a mom outfit. It's like, listen, it was cute and it was very much like something that I would wear, but I'm also 40. I said, I said, oh, a wide brim hat and a silk, like flowy long skirt. This is like very much not her normal style. But anyways, it was cute. She gets to her parents' house and she's like, I didn't want to be here, but I'm here. And and her parents are both like, well, good, cut your losses and keep it moving. But I'm like, is no one truly gonna talk about the fact that her heart is broken? Both of their hearts are broken, y'all, and we can see it. I love that we love to like push blame and like, point fingers and say whatever, but all I'm seeing are two people who, if they were in a vacuum, would be happy with each other. Both of their hearts are broken because one, they couldn't be to each other what they needed to be, and B, the other couldn't be. They just I think I'm trying to say the same thing twice in an A and a B scenario, and there's no A. They just couldn't be what they needed to be. And I think that if they both walked away from the relationship, went to some counseling and therapy together or separate, and learned more about each other and who it is that they are as individuals. Like, right? Don't you feel like there are those of you who have been in long-term relationships or marriages, don't you feel like who you were in the beginning and the way you fought in the beginning of your relationship is different than who you are in the way you fight now? And if it isn't, that's fine. But I'm like, I think that I would have been a very different partner in my 20s than I will be now, that I would be now. I think now I'm always going to try to save the relationship and not be petty. Like, I'm never going to take that person for granted and think I could just do and say anything to them and that they should just stay if they loved me. Cuz that whole you should stay if you loved me, or you should do this if you love me, is a falsity to me. It's not about if you loved me. It's like, this is what I need from you as my partner. And I think this is what you should give me, or this is what I require. And if you as my partner can't give that to me because you don't want to, or it's not in your wheelhouse, or you aren't willing to adopt it as a behavior or a cadence, then we're not going to be right for each other. And respectfully, let's separate. Right? Like, I personally can't be with somebody who's going to yell at me. Right? But there are people in this world who are like, oh, I don't mind yelling because when I get upset, I yell. So if somebody yells at me, I understand. Oh no, when I get upset, I don't yell. And if I yell, then I'm like, oh, fucking pissed. Like, I do what I can in any relationship, romantic or not, to not make the person feel bad or whatever. And if I ever feel like, oh God, I want to say this to this person so that they feel bad, or so that they know that their behavior is bad and unacceptable. Like, people I think who are lazy, like, I would never tell anybody that I think they're lazy. Now, would I hint at it because I'm pissed? Yes. And even then, that's not right. And I would feel so guilty and terrible for making that person feel that way because I don't want to hurt their feelings. But sometimes I understand in the heat of the moment, you want someone to truly understand where you're coming from and you want them to change their behavior. So you say the cutting thing to try to get them to truly understand how you're feeling. And it's not right. So I think we all have to think about it as like, these are young people and we watched their relationship on TV. We watched it for 7 years. Or at least 6, right? 4 years of the family Chantel and like 3 seasons or 2 seasons of the regular 90 Day Fiance. Like, we've watched them. We've watched Chantel go from no eyebrows to a full eyebrows. We watched Pedro go to like acne prone forehead to no acne. We've watched them grow. And they've made mistakes, mainly involving their family. I mean, truly, truly, the family has been an issue. Truly. And you can also tell because River and Winter and Nicole, none of the simply based on Pedro and Chantel's interactions and their family's involvement and Chantel and Pedro's relationship, all of those other siblings have decided to keep their relationships private because of seeing what their family can be like, how their family encroaches. So like, woo, they know it. people just simply do not try and make it work. They're so quick to give up when they hit hard times, and that's why the divorce rate is so high. You've got to work at this thing. I've been married for 20 years, but also you haven't been in an abusive relationship, I'm assuming. Like I want to go on ahead and pull out, like, what if they're abusive? You don't mean that. You mean like just like regular problems, right? Great. I'm gonna say that for you. My husband and I, we fight the exact same way, and we get out what we want to get out and then leave us alone for 20 minutes, and then we find and go back to normal. I mean, that works for you, but that doesn't work for most people. I can't do that. I got to talk about it. There needs to be some kind of like, okay, going forward, this is what my expectation of you is. And if I find that it happens again, we're going to talk about it again and see where you are. And if you truly, it's not something you want to do, like if you're never going to remember to take the trash out, or you're never going to remember to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something bigger than like menial tasks around the house, but I can't think of it. Like if you're not going to dismiss the things that I say, like when I come to you and I say, here's my issue, what I'm asking for is this. And if you're unable to do so, please tell me. I hate yelling. And if I start, I have been married for 34 years. This time is over. That's why it's vital to really know the person you're getting married to. People change, but the core of the person usually stays the same. Like, I just think there's a lot of like communication you have to have, and it is hard. And a lot of times, like as young people, we are not like our parent, at least my parents were not like that with me at all. It was like, shut up and do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so those of us who've had that kind of parenting, we've had to learn how to love our spouses. Now, some people just end up staying together and making it work because they are in a religion, right? And so because no infidelity has happened and no like abuse has happened or whatever, that they stay and they work it out and they manage to eke it through because they have like proper support with their church or whatever, and they manage to make it through. But a lot of times, like if you don't have this like, no, I took my vows seriously to the ends of time, like you're not going to figure out how to make it work. You're going to be so complacent, and then you're going to fall out of love with that person, and that just becomes another entity in your world that you surround yourself with. And like you have friends, you have kids, you have a job, you have other things going on, and you may like let your relationship go by the wayside. And I think some people do recognize it and then do look at their spouse and do say, hey, you know what, I don't actually want to lose you because I do like you, because you are my best friend. I just forgot how to like you. Or I do enjoy your company. I just forgot how to love you. And that takes a lot of growing up to do. That takes a lot. Like not everybody can do it. And I don't think it's as easy as saying like nobody wants to make it work anymore. I think it just has to do with how these people communicate, what their past traumas are, what they've learned as an adult. And I think having kids adds so much more to it that I will never know. I will never know. Miss Brown Sugar says divorce rate is also higher because women have the option for divorce and the ability to live independently, which wasn't really feasible when many of our parents and grandparents were married. That is very true. I think that a lot of times women are, you guys know I have talked about this. If you have watched me, I'm going to say this statement. You're going to be like, oh, that's why. Women are socialized to believe that marriage is the ultimate goal and that all they have to do is love a man to death or a partner. I'm not talking, it doesn't have to be heteronormative, but like it's, it's this ideal, it's this place, it's this like whatever. But to me, and maybe this could just be me coming from my experience, I don't necessarily know if getting married young is for everyone. I think that some people are more predisposed to monogamy and have probably been raised in healthy environments, and so they understand how to communicate and how to help somebody communicate with them. But a lot of us were not raised in healthy environments. A lot of us don't know how to communicate. A lot of us are making a bunch of mistakes in our 20s, especially with now social media, where you can see other lives, you can see other paths. It's not just find a boo, have a baby, make a life, buy a home. It's not just that anymore. There's so much more to life, and we can see it now. And women definitely have choices. And because of this idea that like, women are just waiting to find a good man to love, and a man is just waiting to find a good woman to like whatever, but everybody has a different idea of what a good man is and what a good woman is. And like, we're all just like moving about the place trying to figure it out. Some find it early and stay forever, and some don't. But I think it's not the best for us as a society to believe that those who find it early and make it work forever are the goal. Some people are in your life for a season and that's it. And you learn what you learn from them and you move on. Which is why I think that like getting married isn't necessarily something you need to do right away. I think whoever said that you should know each other before you do so or you get married is important. And I think that's important too. It depends on what your motivations are. It depends on what your foundation is. It depends on what your beliefs are. It depends on a lot of different factors. Since they are on reality TV, I guess I just thought we'd see more of the issues. I feel like Chantel, like, what? Really? I think that I wish I would have seen more of Chantel like being sad. And I wish I would, because we've seen Pedro being sad. Like when he signed the papers, that was him being sad. Talking bread, she also had an inheritance from her grandparents, so it will get sorted. Slash, Pedro took out large amounts, I think 5,000 twice, so she moved it to be safe. A judge will sort it out. Yeah. Erica, I call myself pro divorce. We shouldn't stay in unhealthy marriages. Ups and downs are normal, but life's too short to be miserable. I think that we should stop normalizing marriages. Is that me? Am I jaded? Did I come from a jaded place? Did I come from a jaded place? Let me like take a moment and think about how I feel about that. Did that come from a jaded place? No. I really do think that we should stop normalizing marriages. I think if you're Christian or you're in a religion where it demands that, then that's fine. But I think the rest of us, I think we should stop normalizing it. I think that it shouldn't be the go-to thing to do because it is a huge deal. It's a business venture. It's like becoming a business person with somebody. It's like getting a coffee shop with somebody. Like I think that it just like it doesn't serve the woman specifically. It doesn't serve her. Um, usually, not all the time, but usually the women end up taking care of the children and the house and then still going to work and like still having to like do all these things and like figuring out how to balance all that when like men don't necessarily have all of that pressure. I mean, as far as rearing the kids, like, yeah, there are some great dads out there, don't get me wrong, but not men are not socialized to be parents and women are socialized to be parents. Men aren't given baby dolls as like kids. They don't play, they're not given certain things as children. They're not like, could you imagine? Like, there's even this like whole recourse online when a little boy like gets a kitchen, like a little play kitchen, and everyone's like, oh, we're making feminized women. I'm sorry. So now learning to cook your own food is feminized? Half of the top, more than half of the top chefs in the world are men. And we can't buy a little boy a kitchen set? Like it's crazy. So like that's what I'm saying. Like there's so much happening in society that don't set men up for success. don't don't teach them like how to like even buy furniture for their first apartment. Like or their second apartment or their grown ass man house. Like sometimes you walk into men's homes and you're like, "You bought this house and then put that couch in this house?" That's interesting. Oh, you don't have any hand towels in your bathroom? No paper towels either? Oh. Oh, you got 3-in-1 body wash for your hair, your face, and your body? Oh. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't set men up for that either. And don't let a man, like, take care of himself. Then we're calling him all kinds of names. Don't let a man get a pedicure so somebody else can get them crusty dogs. So somebody else can, like, file them nails. We calling them all kinds of names. So... I wish they moved away so that they could build their own marriage foundation. Chantel told her family their business way too much. And then when she really should have been asking her parents for help, she didn't. She didn't. Yeah. I just entered my 40s, happily and peacefully married over a decade. And the advice I give my younger family members is don't just date looking for love, seek a true friend. So important. I think that's great advice. I'm coming into this late, but my issue is why does Pedro have to be cheating in order for him to call it quits? Why can't he just be over it? Also, why does he have to be using her? I mean, listen, Vonnie G, that's how I feel. I feel like he like when he said you're lazy, I said, "Oh, That'll do it. That'll do it. That'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that. She don't think she's lazy. She's swimming along, living her life. That'll do it. Nobody really knows what went on in their relationship because we were only able to see smart parts and they only know. I mean, Leslie, duh, girl. Or man, I don't know. Leslie can be both. Duh. This is the whole fun of this. This is the whole fun of 90 Day Fiance and any of these reality shows. Yes, I'm not truly going after Pedro and Chantel. I don't go and leave them DMs and I don't even follow. I follow Chantel though. I follow Chantel. Do I follow Pedro? No. Out of respect for Chantel, I don't follow Pedro on social media. I follow Darcy Silva, Chantel. Maybe I follow Winter because Winter looks beautiful in so many of her shots. And who else do I follow? I don't follow most of the cast, okay? So I'm never truly like, oh, I know everything, but this is just us talking and having banter about like a situation. Maybe I should have put a disclaimer at the beginning of this video. I meant to. That was a mental thing. I don't want to, yeah. But yeah, I know, girl. I'm just talking. But we can all learn from this, right? Ooh, Nita B says laziness is not a good reason for a divorce, in my opinion. Get a maid if cleaning is the problem. Is it not a good reason for divorce? Well, also, here's the truth. I wouldn't marry anybody I thought was lazy. So I would know that beforehand. But they're young. So this is a young relationship and they're just starting to realize like, so they can go forward and learn something from this relationship. And if they end up circling and coming back together, they will come back into this relationship better than ever because they now know who they are and what they're willing to give into and what they're not. Ooh, everyone is like Pedro. Not everyone. Two people are like Pedro is cheating. Why? Why does he got to be cheating? Also, I think it's really, and I'm saying this because I don't know, I've never been in a marriage or a relationship, so take my word with a grain of salt. But I think it's really, lazy is the wrong word. It's just because it's on the tip of my tongue. It's not the right word. But I don't think it's fair to say that. I had a friend who married, and when they had both decided to call it quits, he, as a Catholic male who actually converted to Christianity for her, which I was like, are not Catholics Christian? But maybe I know nothing. His family was very upset that he, became Christian to whatever for her. He did not start dating until all the divorce papers were signed. And everybody was like, hey, not that, hey, John, you should, start dating. Like, your marriage is obviously over. She's moved out, blah, 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 blah. But there was something in him that wouldn't allow himself to start dating until the papers had been signed and everything had been like done. And I thought that was very admirable of him, but also very unnecessary. I think once you decide that your marriage is over and you move out, that you should be allowed to like start dating. Now, I say that with saying that I don't think that that date should like amount to anything. I would be pissed if my husband divorced me and then immediately started dating and then got in a relationship with somebody else. I would come after him because that's, to me, like, that means that you've been out of this relationship. And like, and then if that was the case, you should have told me so I could have been out this relationship too. It's unfair that you get to walk away and like start all over again. And I'm over here in pieces trying to pick everything up. Now, that's me being petty. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's somebody in my life who I feel owes me everything. And I was never even in a relationship with that person. I feel like they simply owe me for the stress and strain of them lying to me for a certain amount of time. So like, I would feel super, super betrayed. But like, also, is it cheating if you have already told your person that you don't want to be with them anymore and that you're moving on? I don't necessarily know that it's cheating. I think you're trying to cover up a wound and you want to cover that up with somebody else and something new, I think that it would be irresponsible to just get married like a year later after you divorce somebody. Like, that's effing crazy. Like, people who do that, like people who swing from marriage to marriage, like you just divorce somebody and then you get married to somebody else like 2 years later, absolutely not. When I see some of these people's dating like records, like these celebrities who like literally swing from relationship to relationship, I feel like that person is not to be trusted. And they are somebody who just either A, needs to be out in public and seen, or B, are just like aren't satisfied with themselves as people in order to just be single for a while. And listen, that's me judging, and I don't have to judge. I don't have to judge. But sometimes I do. Since they have not slept with her for a year, I think he is cheating. I thought it was 3 months. I thought they hadn't slept together in 3 months when they moved into that house. Over a year. I mean, I've done it. I can't say that it's impossible. Ooh, I don't think you should date until the paperwork is signed and filed, simply out of respect. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like that's fair if that's what you believe, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I think that I would feel some kind of way about it, but no, a year. Oh wow, that's intense. Wait at least until you file for divorce. Yeah, I agree with that. You can't just be separated. Like, what does that mean? I think that you should be, I don't know. I guess it depends on you and your like physical whatever. I know that I don't think that I could let somebody in after I was like in a relationship with somebody else for so long, because then I have to teach them and tell them what to do. Ugh. I'm not somebody that could just lay down with anybody. I just like I have things that need to happen. There's a patterns, there's like situations that need to occur for me to become comfortable and to like let go. Cause otherwise I'm not gonna get to where I need to get. And then what was the point? I just like some people are just like, oh, I need somebody to hold me. I'm like, oh no, I don't. I want someone to hold me, but I want somebody who's gonna hold me right. You know what I'm saying? Like I just can't have anybody holding me. I'm not one of these girls who can just like go out to a bar and meet a guy. One, because I didn't drink in my 20s and like I'm drinking now, but even then I don't know. Like, ugh, gross. Like, did they brush their teeth? How often do they like floss? Like, I need to know basic hygiene like information before I let somebody into my body. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you. There was this man who I had like we loved each other when we were like 25, 26. We worked together and we used to have lunch every day together. He was in a relationship, but we just remained friends, but we definitely had crushes on each other. Now, cut to a year ago. Not a year ago, a couple months ago. He reached out to him because he like went through chemotherapy, and I was like, oh my god, I used to love this person, like I got to see if they're okay. Reached out, turns out he's in a whole polyamorous relationship, right? Like just has 3 women and like some biddies that he's texts on the side, right? It's completely open, they all know about each other, like it's a whole thing, right? Whole thing. And so he and I started talking, and then we got the opportunity to see each other in person, and it's the first time we had seen each other in over 10 years, and it was all the same feelings again, but this man belched twice, and he did not wash his hands before he ate and licked his fingers, and I couldn't kiss him. I couldn't. I could not, and I hope he's not watching this because he'll know why I couldn't kiss him. I couldn't. I couldn't. I could not. And like I know he wants to see me, and the next time I see him, I have to just be like, "Listen, I am really big on hygiene, and I need you to brush your teeth and floss and wash your hands right now." Listen, I couldn't. I couldn't, and I haven't been able to tell him why. So I really hope he's not watching this. But I'm just like, I can't. I can't. The licking of the fingers is just. If we're at home, yeah, lick your fingers. Yeah, yeah. If we're eating fried chicken at home, lick your fingers. I won't, but like I just can't. I don't know. Something happened to me in the 8th grade where I saw somebody like licking like Cheeto fingers. Oh, ugh, ugh. It was so gross to me. I now can't watch anyone lick their fingers in public. Never. Never. And that is just a little quirk about me. And burping, he didn't burp. I'm sorry. He belched. Like he's like, bleh. And listen, I know that there is a culture of people in this world who just belch. I have male friends who just belch in front of me. And I'm like, oh, I no longer like if there ever was a sliver of an opportunity of me feeling that you were attractive, the moment you belch, I'm out. I am just out. Like you can burp, but the like bleh, that I can't. I don't know why. And if so, like yes, we have to know each other for a while. We need to have already been intimate, and then you are still going to go need to brush your teeth. I just can't. It's because I can't. It's just me. It's just me. I know. Some women are like, oh, I don't. It doesn't bother me. That's fine, and I understand it doesn't bother people. But then those people come to me, and it bothers me, and they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, oh. Belching to me is like you think you're Homer Simpson. You know? Belching to me is you think you're Al Bundy. I aged myself just now. Belching to me means that you think you are and all the women who belch out there are like, I don't think I'm Al Bundy. No. No, but that's it just is like it's a weird move to me. It's a weird I mean it's yeah, I just said that. Anyways, there's that. All right, you guys, we've been talking about this for 56 minutes. I got other things to talk about. We got to talk about Seeking Sister Wife because, girl, I was not ready for this season finale of Seeking Sister Wife. Then we got to talk about 90 Day UK, but I'll probably wait for that for tomorrow or later on tonight. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow because the UK girlies are like asleep right now. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's 11. So, or 12. Ramsterdam, what you doing up, girl? So yeah, I like the UK girlies are moving about the space, and so I'll do it tomorrow early in the morning. Belching is gross. Yeah, no, you guys, if you aren't watching UK, it really is. It is not embarrassing. It is so good. I had a girl I worked with who belched from men. Oh, yeah, no, not for me. Ooh, Ramsterdam wants the tea. Mickey, Ramsterdam wants the tea. Okay. I will talk to you guys later. I want to thank you all so much for rocking with me today. Please go on ahead and follow me on Instagram at Just Call Me Wah or DocuSweeties. Go on ahead. And if you want to give your girl a tip, let's see. Did anyone give a tip? Let's see. Thank you, though, for those of you who did give tips. That's awesome. Thank you, Suman. I appreciate it. I also have a missed call. Who's calling me? Ew. Leave me alone. Don't call me. Text me. What year is this calling me? Bye, you guys. Oh, I'm British and I feel like these individuals aren't good representatives. Oh, I mean, come on. Who do you think from the United States is a good representative? I mean, who do you think I'm Bye. Sisters take two. Hello. Never seen your name before. Bye, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. Sweeties. Download the podcast. Watch the YouTuberies. Go to Patreon if you want to support. If you want to give your girl a tip, do so down below. But otherwise, I will see you guys in about 30 minutes. We're going to come back at 4 and talk about Seeking Sister Wife because that shit was great. All right. Bye. Oh, yeah. Have a fantastic day. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.